Alright, this one's insane. WNBA legend and NBA broadcast analyst Candace Parker just went straight at Cathy Engelbert, and she didn't just throw shade, she revealed the WNBA commissioner's dirty secret on live TV. The fallout from her comments could genuinely mark the beginning of the end for Engelbert's run in the WNBA. It all started on a recent episode of the Post Moves podcast with Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston. The topic was supposed to be leadership in women's basketball, but what Candace delivered instead was a full-on reality check for the WNBA. Calm, controlled, lethal. I signed a deal with Amazon to broadcast for Amazon. I got a text from Adam Silver saying congratulations. I had my third child. I got a text from Adam Silver about my third child. Now, whether this is Adam or his assistant, somebody from the league office is reaching out to me. I got a baby gift for my third child. I get a Christmas gift from Adam Silver every year. I retired. Adam Silver sent me a text message that basically congratulated me on my career and how much I've done for the women's game, and he looked forward to how much I'm going to do from the sideline. I have not heard from Cathy. Halfway through the episode, she started comparing Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, with Cathy Engelbert, and let's just say, it wasn't even close. The way Candace laid it out was simple but brutal. When she signed her major broadcasting deal with Amazon, Silver personally texted her congratulations. When she had her third child, he reached out again, sent a thoughtful note and a baby gift. And when she retired, Silver messaged her personally again, thanking her for her legacy and wishing her success in her next chapter. Then came the knockout punch. Candace paused, looked straight into the camera, and said in that cool, composed way only she can, "I've never gotten anything like that from Cathy Engelbert." Boom. One line. The whole internet froze. This wasn't some rookie ranting on Instagram. This was Candace Parker, a Hall of Famer, two-time MVP, Finals MVP, and one of the few people responsible for keeping the WNBA alive before Caitlin Clark took it global. When Candace speaks, people listen. And what made her take down Sting even more? She didn't shout. She didn't sound angry. She just told the truth. And that quiet surgical honesty hit harder than any viral tweet ever could. That the women in this league expect this kind of thing. Should they? That's another argument. Maybe not, but the problem is when the commissioner of another league is fulfilling a role and your actual commissioner is not, that's where the perception is all jacked up. And it causes the real problem here. Candace clarified that this wasn't about getting gifts or texts. It was about leadership. Leadership starts with relationships, she said. If the NBA is our blueprint, then we need to follow it all the way through. And she's absolutely right. Candace just summed up the WNBA's entire leadership crisis in one sentence. Because the NBA figured it out decades ago. Invest in your stars, build relationships, and treat them like the franchise assets they are. Players like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and now Steph Curry became cultural icons because the league empowered them. Cathy Engelbert, on the other hand, seems to think her job is running a non-profit instead of a sports empire. She treats the league's biggest stars like they're strangers at an airport lounge. That's big. I mean, look, in obviously, Adam's only going to do that for, I'm sure, certain players, right, of a certain stature level. But he was aware enough to know that Candace Parker was one of the greatest players they ever had in the league, and made a point to have some kind of relationship. Again, she even acknowledged some of that might have been an assistant. But he was aware of what was going on. Even Aaliyah Boston didn't have to say a word. You could read every thought on her face. She knew Candace was right. And then Candace dropped another bomb. Sabrina Ionescu and Elena Delle Donne have had the same experience. Both admitted they've had more personal contact with Adam Silver than with their own commissioner. Think about that for a second. The NBA commissioner, who runs a billion-dollar global operation with over 450 players, manages to build real connections with WNBA stars, while Engelbert, who oversees just 150 players, can't even send a text. That's not just neglect. That's leadership malpractice. It's like your company's CEO forgetting your promotion, but the CEO of a competitor remembers to send you flowers. It's embarrassing. Candace shared how, year after year, Adam Silver reached out with thoughtful messages, while from Engelbert, radio silence. Not a word during major milestones. When Candace retired, Silver immediately sent a message. Engelbert, nothing. When she finally saw her months later at All-Star Weekend, all Candace got was a half-hearted, congrats, that's it. For a generational icon who carried the WNBA's visibility on her shoulders for years. It's not a good look, it's not. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I was commissioner, yeah, you best believe I'm going to have some kind of a back and forth with at least my top 10%, and here's where it gets serious. Even if Kathy didn't mean any harm, perception is reality. Leadership is about presence. It's about making your people feel valued and respected. And according to Candace, Engelbert is missing in action. That's inexcusable when you're leading a league small enough that you could literally memorize every player's number by heart if you cared to. We're not talking about thousands of employees here. The WNBA has barely 150 players. Building personal connections with your top 20 should be the bare minimum. Adam Silver oversees hundreds more, plus international operations in the G League. Yet he somehow finds the time. So what's Kathy's excuse? The truth is, this isn't Engelbert's first PR disaster. Just weeks ago, Nafisa Collier reportedly went off during her exit interviews, accusing Kathy of privately suggesting that Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the WNBA platform, that she wouldn't be making millions otherwise. Engelbert denied it, but the damage was done. That quote spread like wildfire. Fans saw it for what it was. Jealousy disguised as management. And now, with Candace Parker publicly exposing Engelbert's lack of leadership, this feels like strike two. I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. This isn't a minor misstep. This is a Hall of Famer basically saying, our commissioner doesn't care about us. And coming from Candace, that lands like a nuclear bomb. Because this isn't just one player speaking out. This is a veteran's verdict on the culture at the very top. And here's where timing makes it even worse. Candace's truth bomb comes right as tensions between players and leadership are boiling over. The collective bargaining agreement is up soon. Players are furious about salaries, travel issues, and the league's painfully slow progress on marketing and exposure. Now add this, an image of a commissioner who's completely disconnected from her stars, and you've got a full-blown leadership crisis on your hands. That's mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them. We have the best players in the world, we have the best fans in the world. But right now we have the worst leadership in the world. Even Adam Silver himself, when asked about the WNBA's problems, admitted they're not just financial. He said there are relationship issues that need fixing, which in corporate language means one thing. The players don't trust Kathy Engelbert. And Candace Parker just gave that suspicion a microphone. Her message was clear. The WNBA lacks alignment. And in sports, that word means everything. It means players, coaches, executives and owners working in sync toward the same goal. Candace made it painfully clear the WNBA doesn't have that. And the reason is sitting in the commissioner's chair. Let's be real. Kathy Engelbert knows business. She spent years at Deloitte running one of the biggest consulting empires on the planet. She can handle balance sheets, board meetings, and billion-dollar deals like it's second nature. But here's the problem. The WNBA isn't a corporate spreadsheet. It's not just about quarterly profits. It's about people. It's a living, breathing community built on emotion, passion, and relationships. And that's where Kathy completely misses the mark. Players like Candace Parker aren't asking for fancy slogans about growth or momentum. They want a leader who actually gets it. Someone who shows up, who shakes hands in the locker room, who who celebrates when they retire, who acknowledges their milestones. They don't need speeches, they need sincerity. Candace even clarified that she's not demanding red carpet treatment, just basic respect. The same kind of humanity the NBA commissioner shows as second nature. When Adam Silver sends a congratulatory text, it's not a formality, it's a gesture of awareness. It says, "I see you. You matter." When Kathy Engelbert says nothing, it sends the opposite message. "You're just a line item on my agenda." That's the difference between awareness and detachment, and that difference becomes the line between loyalty and resentment. Then Candace dropped the bombshell line that might haunt Engelbert for the rest of her career. "I have a better relationship with Adam Silver than I do with my own commissioner." That single sentence hit the WNBA like a meteor. It wasn't loud or angry, it was surgical. Because once players unite around that feeling of distrust, leadership collapses. You simply can't command respect from people who don't trust you, especially not in 2025, when every star player has a podcast, a social media empire, and millions of fans who hang on every word. Candace didn't even need to call for Engelbert's resignation. Her story said it for her. And this moment didn't come out of nowhere. This wasn't an impulsive rant, it's been building for years. Players have long felt that Kathy's attention is laser-focused on sponsors, partnerships, and branding deals, but not on them. Her relationship with the athletes who are the league has always been distant. Now, thanks to social media, those quiet frustrations have exploded into public view. Candace's credibility makes it impossible to spin or silence. This isn't some bitter rookie lashing out. This is a two-time MVP, a finals champion, and arguably the most respected woman to ever lace up in the WNBA. When Candace Parker speaks, it's not gossip, it's gospel. Fans, media, and players believe her, especially when other legends like Sue Bird and Elena Del Don start quietly nodding in agreement. So where does that leave Kathy Engelbert? Right now, in a full-blown perception crisis, and in sports, perception is reality. She can hold all the press conferences she wants, but once the narrative sets that you're out of touch, there's no coming back. Candace didn't attack her personally. She questioned her connection, and that's far more lethal. Because in sports, relationships are the currency. Once your players stop feeling seen, they stop following. And that's exactly what's happening in the WNBA. Let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one commissioner being bad at texting. This is about leadership, or the lack of it, and how that can destroy a league that's finally having its big moment. The WNBA is hotter than ever. Viewership is up. Ticket sales are exploding. Jerseys are flying off shelves. And you can thank the women on the court for that. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beakers, Aaliyah Boston, and yes, Candace Parker. These women are carrying the momentum of women's basketball into a new golden era. When Caitlin Clark calls for new leadership, you're in trouble. However, when the attention starts showing up on National Basketball Association Commissioner Adam Silver, and people start glancing in his direction, that this is partially his fault, Engelbert is going to be out, and she's going to be out very quickly. But while the players are creating history, Kathy Engelbert seems to be sitting quietly in the back office, watching it slip through her fingers. Her silence has become her signature. Remember when Caitlin Clark was getting hammered game after game by dirty fouls and bad officiating? Fans begged the league to step in, to say something, to protect the game's biggest star. Engelbert said nothing. Then, when refs became the story again, when players started calling out officiating inconsistency in public, Engelbert stayed silent once more. It's like her PR strategy is ghosting. That's why Candace's words hit so hard, because she said out loud what fans already knew. The league's biggest problem isn't money, it's leadership. Even Adam Silver seems to know it. He recently said that the WNBA's issues aren't just financial, and that there are relationship challenges that need to be fixed. Translation: players don't trust Kathy Engelbert, and the NBA knows it. But the way it's looking, might not be the 2026 season. But just like I stated, Kathy whole relationship situation is not good at all. They could put in order Kathy gotta step down before they sign anything, which would be ugly for the league, but hell, at this point I can't blame 'em. Kathy can't be trusted, and she definitely gotta go. The most ironic part, Candace literally handed Kathy the solution on a silver platter during that same podcast. She said it plain and simple. The NBA is the blueprint. Build relationships. Recognize your stars. Treat players like partners, not employees. Those 3 steps alone could transform the league overnight. Instead, Kathy built a wall between herself and the people who made the WNBA worth watching in the first place. Candace was right. Small gestures matter. A baby gift, a text message, a simple congrats that feels personal. These things take seconds but build a lifetime of goodwill. Adam Silver has mastered that. Kathy Engelbert hasn't even started trying. Candace Parker, one of the faces of women's basketball for 2 decades, retires, and Kathy can't even send a message. That's not leadership. That's indifference with a corporate smile. It's like your favorite teacher skipping your graduation. You still get the diploma, but it feels hollow. That's what Kathy's leadership feels like to these players. Transactional, emotionless, and disconnected. Candace's story drove home one brutal truth. The WNBA has outgrown Kathy Engelbert. She was brought in as a reformer to make the books balance, secure sponsors, and professionalize operations. And to be fair, she's done that part reasonably well. But the league has evolved faster than she has. The players aren't silent employees. They're public figures with voices louder than ever. You can't lead a movement like this with spreadsheets and quarterly memos. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, on the heels of several prominent WNBA players criticizing Commissioner Kathy for lack of accountability and leadership, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on Monday added his voice on the decision in remarks made up on October the 6th at NBC Sports headquarters. Adam Silver acknowledged the WNBA is experiencing growing pains. Whoa, he's had growing pains. Adam Silver gets that. Even when he delivers bad news, players still respect him because he's there. Accessible, present. Kathy Engelbert. Players don't even know what she stands for. And now, thanks to Candace, that disconnect is out in the open for the world to see. It's not a rumor anymore, it's confirmed. This could be the beginning of the end for Engelbert's tenure. Because once one respected legend breaks the silence, others will follow. Don't be shocked when names like Diana Taurasi, Lisa Leslie, and Sue Bird start adding their stories to the pile. Once that domino effect begins, the commissioner's chair starts shaking. And when that happens, Adam Silver might have to step in directly. At this point, it might actually be the best thing for the league. The WNBA finally has mainstream attention, global visibility, and superstar players with real drawing power. But what it doesn't have is the right leader. Someone who knows how to balance business with connection. Someone who can look players like Caitlin Clark and Candace Parker in the eye and actually see them. Kathy should just own up and step down. I believe that's what should happen. Kathy need to just walk away. We're going off into the sunset. Well, the bright sunset, I should say, 'cause it ain't gonna be a good goodbye. But I feel like at this point she gonna have to step down. Candace didn't expose Kathy Engelbert for drama or revenge. She did it because the WNBA has reached a crossroads. The league can't survive on talent alone. It needs trust. When players feel invisible, their passion dies. And when passion dies, fans notice. Candace's calm delivery made her message even more devastating. She didn't yell. She didn't name-call. She didn't even sound bitter. She just laid out the truth in plain sight, and let the silence hang. Because sometimes silence says more than shouting ever could. Years from now, when people look back on this moment, this might be the turning point. The day one legend finally said what everyone else was too afraid to say. The day Candace Parker spoke truth to power and pulled the curtain back on Kathy Engelbert's empty leadership. From that moment on, the dynamic shifted. Players stopped waiting for connection and started demanding accountability. Candace's words weren't just a critique, they were a wake-up call. Because here's the bottom line, you can't build a league on slogans and sponsorships. You build it on people, on respect, on relationships, and right now, Kathy Engelbert has lost them all. So the question now isn't if her time as commissioner ends, it's when. And when that day comes, History will remember exactly where it started. With Candace Parker on a quiet podcast telling the truth that shook the entire WNBA.